This video is going to be a bit different than a lot of my videos, and that this will be the first in a mini-series talking about the Silk Road. This story is covered by so many people on the web you would think somebody would have told the full story. But only partial stories are told, most littered with misinformation, which is understandable because at the time of writing this intro, I have read over 700 pages of court documents, watched over 200 videos pertaining to this case, and read hundreds of articles talking about this investigation, and still have so much research untouched. In this series, I will do my best to cover the entire story behind the Silk Road. The story you would think was created by a Hollywood writer, but it is in fact a completely true story. This is the story about a young man who created a billion-dollar company in less than 2 years on the dark web selling illegal drugs, among other things, helping fuel Bitcoin's success in the early days. A story of a Secret Service agent and a DEA agent that went rogue, stealing millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. A story where half a dozen murderers for hire took place with people that either never existed before or by people that faked their deaths. Where a man is spending multiple life sentences without parole and lost billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin at the time of writing this to the government for creating an open, free market on the internet. Since my channel is all about teaching the basics, this first episode we will dive deep into what the deep web and dark net is, and how the Silk Road was created, and how people were able to buy and sell illegal items and mostly be able to get away with it. So, since I'm a nerd, I am going to be starting from the beginning. I would like you to understand this technology and the thought process behind this technology as well. So this first episode, we will be diving deep and talk about everything about the technology behind, at the time, the most successful underground marketplace in existence, and how close this young man's thinking is to some of the creators of many technologies most people use today on a daily basis. So sit back, relax, and let's learn everything about the deep web.
I can make no guarantees other than my discoveries. I am not an insurance company. You must take my word. You will have to rely on instinct, intuition, and imagination. This power station is not terribly important. It simply makes practical use of theories we have long known about. Rather than congratulate ourselves, we should all feel ashamed that it was not built earlier. The real work is yet to come. Now we must destroy distance. Our senses tell us about things that are close by. To know what is happening far away, we must be able to transmit scenes from other places over long distances. Pictures, the news, energy. Now we must liberate thought. We must set it free of limitations that space and time impose on it, and yet keep its principal characteristics. Now and in future centuries. My tower. That is reality. You will see. Infinite thunderstorm.
Long before there were zeros and ones flying around the world in the form of the technology we know today, there were ideas of worldwide networks. Nikola Tesla attempted to build a worldwide system. Just after 1900, Nikola secured financial backing from JP Morgan and began building a global communications network centered on a giant tower at Wardenclyffe on Long Island. But it wasn't until the early 60s that the internet that we know and love today was first forming. Even though the internet didn't start going mainstream until the early 90s with AOL, Netscape, and some of the known innovators of the web, it was first thought of in the summer of 1961 from a paper submitted by Leonard Kleinrock. In August 1962, J.C.R. Licklider recorded the first description of social interactions that could be enabled through networking through a series of memos. He soon became the first head of computer research at the Defense Advanced Research Agency, or as you may know, DARPA. It was there he met Ivan Sutherland, Bob Taylor and MIT researcher Lawrence Roberts, and they discussed the importance of this networking concept. In 1965, they connected the TX2 computer en masse to the Q32 in California with a low-speed dial-up telephone line, creating the first, however small, wide-area computer network ever built. In 1967, Roberts published the plans for an Advanced Research Project Agency Network, or ARPANET, to create the first computer network concept. In 1969, after many improvements, UCLA was selected to have the first node in the network. 1 month later, on October 29, 1969, ARPANET delivered its first message, a node-to-node communication from one computer to another. The first computer was located in a research lab at UCLA, and the second was at Stanford. Each one was the size of a small house. The message? Log in. It was short and simple. The L was sent, and it was received. The O was sent, and it was received. The G was sent, and it crashed. The G crashed the system. The Stanford computer only received the first 2 notes of this letter. However, now that a successful L and O was achieved, there was a new passion and drive behind accomplishing this technology. In October of 1972, a demonstration was conducted at the International Computer Communication Conference, or the ICCC, where this new technology was working and shown to the public. This is the first year that email was first introduced as the internet's go-to hot application. And then, the building began.
Big difference when he grows up. In fact, if we wanted to wait for the year 2001, is that he will have in his own house, not a computer as big as this, but at least a console through which he can talk to his friendly local computer and get all the information he needs for his everyday life, like his bank statements, his theater reservations, all the information you need in the course of living in a complex modern society. This will be in a compact form in his own house. He'll have a television screen like these here and a keyboard, and he'll talk to the computer and get information from it, and he'll take it as much for granted as we take the telephone.
On January 1st, 1983, ARPANET adopted TCP/IP, and from there, researchers began to assemble the network of networks.
If this circuit over here broke in the midst of the transmission, the message had gotten that far, it might then backtrack, go back here, and possibly take some other route until it gets to the destination.
That became the modern internet, and the online world then took on a more recognizable form in 1990, when computer scientist Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web.
Set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
This is where the confusion normally begins. While the World Wide Web is often confused with the internet itself, the web is actually just the most common means of accessing data online in the form of websites and hyperlinks. This is what fueled the 90s.com boom from 1995 to 2000s era, because now websites could be created and indexed easier. Companies like Ask Jeeves, Yahoo, Google, and many others started popping up, allowing many startups to have many eyes on them quickly. During the 1990s, 2 research organizations in the U.S. Department of Defense started development on an autonomized and encrypted network that would protect the communication by spies all over the world. During the 90s, 2 research organizations in the U.S. Department of Defense started development on an anonymized and encrypted network that would protect the communication of spies all around the world. The government wanted this to be a secret network that ran on the web, but only secret agents and high-ranking officials could have access to. This project ended up not succeeding in the sense of how they wanted to use it. However, some of the researchers saw some other value from the technology and ended up launching a non-profit focused on anonymity for human rights and privacy activists. This ended up being called onion routing. Onion routing is a technology for anonymous communications over a computer network. It was developed in the mid-1990s by the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory by Paul Severson, Michael Reed, and David Goldschlag to protect the U.S. intelligence communications online. DARPA developed it further and patented it by the Navy in 1998.